If you're feeling unappreciated by your ungrateful teen, you're not alone. But the real reason behind their lack of gratitude might surprise you. In this video, we'll cover the real causes of your teen's ungratefulness and we'll look at some practical, realistic strategies to foster more appreciation. When your teenager seems ungrateful, remember, it's not personal. Their brain is still developing and they might process your efforts differently than you'd expect. In order to bridge the gratitude gap, start by accepting that some ungratefulness is normal. Then focus on creating an atmosphere of gratitude within your family. You can say things like, I know it might not always seem like it, but everything I do for you comes from a place of love. Or, I probably don't say this enough, but I am just so grateful to be your parent. Creating this type of environment sets the stage for gratitude without demanding it. In order to really set the stage for appreciation, though, you have to understand what's driving your teenager's ungratefulness. Most ungrateful behavior in teenagers stems from one of three places: entitlement, feeling overwhelmed, or a desire for independence. To respond effectively, you need to identify what is your teen's main trigger. Ask yourself, does my teen seem to expect privileges without responsibilities? Do they seem overwhelmed by everything that they're supposed to do? Or are they pushing for more autonomy? Understanding the why behind the behavior is the first step to really being able to address it. Once you've identified your teen's trigger, you can start to tailor your approach. But first, let's look at some common mistakes to avoid. When our teenager is being ungrateful, often as parents, we try to guilt them into being more appreciative. You should really be more grateful. Other kids don't have what you have. You are so lucky. That approach is really not going to work because ungratefulness is a sign that something deeper is going on within your teenager. You can't just tell them to snap out of it. Instead, you need to do some work to uncover what's really going on for them. Try something like, I understand you're frustrated. Can you help me understand more about how you're feeling? This approach opens up a dialogue without putting them on the defensive. Remember, you can't force gratitude, but you can model it and you can invite it. Now, let's look at some specific strategies for handling each type of ungratefulness, starting with entitlement. When your teen acts entitled, what they're lacking is perspective. You might say, hey, I could really use your help planning our grocery list this week. It would really help me out, and it would also teach you about budgeting. This starts to give them a window into everything that goes into providing this life for them. When they do contribute, acknowledge it with something like, hey, I really appreciate you helping out with groceries this week. It made a big difference. This connects their efforts with your appreciation, which fosters an environment of gratitude. On the other hand, if your teen is ungrateful because they feel overwhelmed, then you're going to need a different approach. For teens who feel overwhelmed, every new expectation feels like a burden. To lighten the load on this type of teenager, make it clear that your love is not conditional. You can say, I know you're dealing with a lot of pressure right now. I want to make it clear that my love for you does not depend on your achievements. You might also encourage them to prioritize their own well-being. You could say something like, if you need to cut back on some of the activities to manage your load, I'm here to help you with that. By easing the pressure, you can create space for gratitude. So we've covered how to handle entitled and overwhelmed types of ungrateful teens. Now, the third type was autonomy. Sometimes when your teenager resists your help, they're actually trying to prove to themselves and to you that they're capable. Support their independence by letting them take the lead. You might say, I trust you to handle this project on your own. Let me know if you need any help, but I think you've got this. When they succeed, acknowledge their effort by saying something like, I am so proud of how you managed that all on your own. You worked really hard on that. By supporting and appreciating their autonomy, you create an environment where gratitude can happen. So those are three great ways to deal with different types of ungrateful teenagers. Another important strategy for having an environment of gratitude in your family is to model appreciation yourself. Make a habit of expressing gratitude for your teen, for your family, and for your daily life. You might say something like, I'm so grateful to have such a thoughtful son. The way you helped your sister today really meant a lot. Or, I feel so fortunate to have this time together as a family, even if it's just doing chores. The more your teen hears you expressing genuine appreciation, the more naturally it will come to them. It's not about some big grand gestures. It's just about weaving gratitude into your daily language and your habitual interactions. An important caveat to this is that sometimes we don't know what we've got until it's gone. When teens take privileges for granted, let them experience life without those privileges. If they're not appreciating you taking time off work to give them rides to their activities, try sitting them down to say, hey, I have some stuff going on this week. I'm not going to be able to drive you every day. Let's brainstorm some other ways you might be able to get everywhere you need to go. This isn't about punishing them. It's about helping them to understand how nice it is when you do give them a ride. Helps your teen see the value in something that they normally take for granted. Another powerful factor in creating gratitude in your teenager is perspective. Here's how to create some without lecturing. Encourage your teenager to participate in activities that put their privileges into perspective. You could say, I heard the local food bank is looking for volunteers. It could be a great way for us to give back. What do you think? Or when you're watching a movie or the news together, take an opportunity to discuss how different life circumstances can be. This really makes me reflect on how much we have to be grateful for. By exposing your teen to a wider array of circumstances and expressing appreciation yourself, you're creating an environment of gratitude. If you have a teenager who's really resistant to talking about gratitude or expressing gratitude, it helps to get really good at recognizing and nurturing signs of gratitude when your teen does express them. When your teenager expresses even a little bit of gratitude, you need to acknowledge that. Oh, it means the world to me to hear you say that. I'm so appreciative that you took the time to tell me. Even if they slip back into a state of entitlement or ingratitude, you can follow up. I know that showing appreciation doesn't always come natural to you, and I'm so proud of how far you've come in expressing gratitude. Most importantly, continue to always model gratitude yourself. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. Watching you grow into such a thoughtful person is a true gift. By consistently demonstrating and nurturing gratitude, you make it a natural part of your relationship and of their outlook. Growing gratitude in your teenager is a process, not a quick fix. It starts by understanding the reasons behind their ungratefulness, whether it's entitlement, overwhelm, or that drive for independence. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more helpful content like this, and listen every week to the Talking to Teens podcast. Until next time, keep leading with love and gratitude. Your teen is lucky to have you in their corner.